Statistics. Statistics can be really useful, but also misleading. You've got to know what statistics to use when. For instance, it's true that the death rate in the US Army is lower per 1,000 people than the death rate in the US population. It means that more people are dying per 1,000 in America than in the American Army. How can this be true? Well, it's true because the Army's full of younger people. Apart from getting shot, they're not dying of cancer and heart attacks and the things that are taking away obesity, diabetes, that are taking away the rest of the USA. So you have to know your stats. You have to be able to think about them. This was number one. Science magazine reported that mobile phone calls per minute, the cost of a mobile phone call had decreased by 12,000%. And this was when somebody had messed up their statistics. Science magazine, they should know better, because if the cost of something decreases by 100%, it decreases to zero amount of money. At 12,000, that was a wrong headline by Science magazine. They should know better. That was number two. If you have a pay cut of 50% and then a pay rise of 50%, most people would think, oh, you're back to where you should be. No, do the numbers. If you start off being paid $10 an hour and have a pay cut of 50%, you're now on $5 an hour. If you then have a pay rise by 50%, you're on 50% of 5, which is 2.5. Add the original 100%, 5, you're on $7.50 an hour. 50% decrease halves it. 50% increase adds half of what you've got back on. $7.50. Newsflash. The average temperature in Death Valley is 25 degrees C. How can this be? That's lovely. That's really quite nice. I'm going on holiday there. But it's Death Valley. Because that's the average temperature over the year, but most importantly, over the day. At night, it's cold. Many people get rid of their jumpers when they're walking around in Death Valley and they die of cold during the night. It goes down to 15 degrees C for the night. It increases to a maximum of 134. Very nasty. Averages. Gotta know what the range is to know whether it's safe. Next one. There are 100 people in the room. The average wage is $350 million US. And yet most people are poor. How can that be? Again, averages. It means that there's 99 people that are homeless, poor, have no wage, and there's Mark Zuckerberg. One person totally skews the average. Next. Averages can also be true and sound weird. For instance, humans on average have less than 2 legs. The median is 2. The average would round to 2, but the average is definitely less than 2. Because there are few people that have 1 leg and some, very unfortunate, that have none. The average is slightly less than 2. And ovaries, the average is slightly less than 1 per human. Because some unfortunate people have had the ovaries that they used to have taken out. Averages. You've got to really think about them. Next. Time magazine. Time magazine tells you the truth. And it did. But sometimes the way it's put makes you feel strange about the average. For instance, Time magazine correctly said, over a decade ago, that there are more mobile phones on Earth than there are toilets. This makes it sound like people are more interested in playing games on their mobile phones than they are in sanitation. And this isn't true. It's just that quite a lot of people own 3 or 4. I'm looking at you, you wasteful people, having a mobile phone that still works. Yeah, there are more mobile phones on Earth than toilets. Unfortunately, millions and millions of people have neither. Don't waste your mobile phones. Since 2010, it has been the most dangerous time to fly in an aeroplane, and also the most safest. So how can those both be true, those facts? Because per 1,000 miles flown, aeroplanes have got very, very safe. It is the safest to fly per 1,000 miles right now. However, because so many people are flying nowadays, the last decade, more people have died in flight accidents. When the Wright brothers were around, you'd have 10 people flying in a year and one of them would die. Nowadays, there are lots and lots of people flying, millions and millions. So it's the most gross deaths. It's a couple of thousand a year. But maybe a couple of hundred. I'll have to check that. Check that for me. Put it down in comments. But also it's the safest time to fly per 1,000 miles flown. Both are true. Most car accidents happen within 3 miles of your house. So this means that within 3 miles of your house it's very dangerous to drive? No. It means that for most people, most of their journeys include that 3 miles close to your home. And a bit more, spread out. But because your density of driving is within those 3 miles, yes, it's the most dangerous place to drive a car. Because you drive it a lot in that place. Within 3 miles of your house. Do put your seatbelt on. Medical experts will all talk to the same person and give them different diagnoses based on their own knowledge. So if the same person comes up to a surgical oncologist, he will advise surgery because he knows that's what it works. What works? What saves people's lives from cancer? A radiation oncologist would advise radiation because that's what he knows works. It saves lives. And equally, a medical oncologist would advise chemotherapy because that's what he knows. Every expert has got their own biases because of their own point of view. All 3 of them are correct. They all save lives. Which one's the best one? Which one you should have if you've got cancer? You've got to talk to all 3 of them and get the percentages. Next, all of these stats and facts in this YouTube video are all from A Field Guide to Lies and Statistics by Fab Book, Daniel Levitin. Mrs. Clark. Mrs. Clark had 2 babies die on her. The statistics said it was a 1 in 73 million chance of a baby dying in this way. 2 times. So that would be 1 over 73 million times 1 over 73 million. The odds were too long. They put Mrs. Clark in jail. Fortunately, a DNA scientist checked what was going on. Her husband had a genetic disorder that meant that the death of the children was quite likely. Mrs. Clark was let out of jail and was allowed to mourn the death of her children. Be careful of statistics. The Times also made a mistake. In 2015, it said that cancer rates amongst older people had, in America, gone up from 33% to 50% over a lifetime. They were saying this was an epidemic of cancer caused by, and then they left it open for the audience to figure it out. Actually, what was happening was people are living longer. Detection of cancer is much keener now. So therefore, yes, it's gone from 33% to 50% because we're detecting more of them and because there's more older people around. Yeah, be careful what you do with statistics. Finding out more statistics can change them. Next, many times you get television presenters saying that 3 times more people approve of a measure, something that's going to happen, than disapprove of it. But this could mean that 96% of the people don't care. If you've got 3 people in 100 saying, yes, we should do this, and 1 person in 100 saying, no, we shouldn't, and 96% of the people saying, I'm not so bothered. That is 3 times approving compared to disapproving. However, it's not the way to present that statistic. Badly presented. Red Bull, 2014, had to pay $13 million US because they'd said in their adverts, and a lawsuit was brought against them, that Red Bull increased physical and mental performance. Red Bull could not prove this. It does not do that. You can't just say things in your adverts if you're a big company. If you're a small company, no one's going to bother suing you because you'll go broke and they'll get no money. But if you're a big company like Red Bull, someone's sooner or later going to sue you for it when you make these mistakes. Theoretical probabilities only occur when you've done an infinite number of trials. For instance, throw a dice 6 times. Your chance of getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 is quite slim. Unless you throw that dice an infinite amount of time. And then you'll get 1/6 of the time it's 1, 1/6 of the time it's 2, 1/6 of the time it's 3, 1/6 of the time it's 4, 1/6 of the time it's 5, 1/6 of the time it's 6. Chance and probability. Gotta know what you're doing with these things. Great. And that's my last one for today's YouTube.